All right, get ready to dive into Lake Como, Italy. We're talking dream trip, picture perfect, first-timer's guide.
Lake Como's got it all. Stunning natural beauty, charming villages, and rich history. It's not just a pretty picture.
Yeah, and let's not forget the food. Fresh seafood, local pasta, gelato. I'm already dreaming of those cobblestone streets and lakeside views.
Speaking of history, Lake Como's been around for centuries. Think ancient Romans, medieval castles, grand villas, just layers of stories.
So where should our listeners start this 4-day adventure?
Como, the town that shares its name with the lake, is a perfect starting point. Easy to get to, and it's got that laid-back Italian charm.
Perfect. What's first on the agenda?
You absolutely can't miss the Duomo Como's Cathedral. It's this amazing blend of Gothic and Renaissance architecture.
Ooh, I love those architectural details. But I also need to soak in those panoramic lake views I've heard so much about.
Well, after the Duomo, hop on the funicular up to Brunate. It's a little cable car that takes you up to this incredible viewpoint.
Okay, funicular ride. Check. How else can our listener experience Como's atmosphere?
Take a stroll along the lakefront promenade. It's the heart of Como. Cafes, shops, vibrant flower stalls, perfect for people watching. Maybe grab a gelato.
I'm picturing myself there right now. Now, after a day of exploring, time for dinner. What's the recommendation?
Skip the fancy restaurants and find a traditional trattoria. They're usually family-run, tucked away, and they serve up the most delicious, authentic Italian dishes.
Local, authentic, and delicious. That's a win-win in my book. All right, day 1 in Como sounds incredible. What's on tap for day 2?
Day 2 is all about those picturesque villages. We're hopping on a ferry to explore the lake. First stop, Bellagio, the pearl of Lake Como.
Bellagio, the pearl. What's so special about it?
Imagine vibrant houses, charming streets, elegant boutiques, hidden courtyards, and those stunning lake views everywhere you look.
Sounds magical. Where should our listeners start in Bellagio?
Don't miss the gardens of Villa Melzi. They're a prime example of Italian garden design. Think manicured lawns, vibrant flowers, sculptures, and of course, those jaw-dropping lake views.
Okay, Villa Melzi, check. What about for those who want a little more adventure?
For the adventurous types, there's a hike up to Monte San Primo, the highest peak in the area. The panoramic views from the summit are just breathtaking.
Wow, a hike with a view. I like it. After all that exploring, where's dinner?
In Bellagio, find a romantic lakeside restaurant. Picture a candlelit table, the sound of the waves, the sunset over the lake, and you're enjoying fresh seafood and local wine.
That sounds incredible. Day 2 is shaping up to be pretty spectacular. What about day 3? What's next on our Lake Como adventure?
Day 3 takes us to Varenna, another charming village, but with a more tranquil vibe.
Varenna? How is it different from Bellagio?
Bellagio is elegant and sophisticated. Varenna is all about peace and quiet. Think quaint fishing village, colorful houses cascading down to the lake.
Sounds like the perfect escape. What should our listener prioritize in Varenna?
Varenna is best explored on foot. Just wander through those narrow cobbled streets, take in the colorful houses, the glimpses of the lake, the mountains in the distance.
Just getting lost in the beauty of it all. Are there any must-sees in Varenna?
You have to visit Villa Monastero. It's a historic villa with beautiful gardens stretching along the lake. They even have a collection of rare and exotic plants.
A botanical wonderland by the lake. Sounds amazing. Where should we have dinner in Varenna?
Varenna is full of charming trattorias. Find one maybe with a terrace overlooking the lake, and try some traditional local dishes, maybe the risotto with lake fish or polenta.
Okay, 3 amazing days down, 1 to go. What's the plan for our final day in Lake Como?
We're heading to Bellagio, a town known for its laid-back Italian lifestyle.
Bellagio. Laid back, huh? Tell me more.
Well, Bellagio has been a popular spot since the 19th century. It's got this beautiful promenade with stunning lake views.
Sounds like the perfect place to unwind. What activities would you suggest to make our last day extra special?
A leisurely stroll along the lakefront promenade is a must. Enjoy the fresh air and the views. Maybe grab a coffee and relax at a cafe.
I could definitely get used to that.
Yeah.
What about for those who want a bit more activity on their last day?
Rent a boat. It's a fantastic way to see the lake from a different perspective, explore hidden coves, swim in the clear water, and just enjoy the scenery.
A boat ride on Lake Como. That's a fantastic way to end the trip. And where should we have our final dinner?
Look for a special restaurant in Bellagio, one with a breathtaking view, or a menu showcasing the best of local cuisine. The perfect place to reflect on your Lake Como adventure.
Sounds perfect. Is there anything else our listeners should know about Bellagio?
Don't forget, Menaggio is also a great starting point for exploring the surrounding Lombardy region. You can take a ferry to other villages, hike in the mountains, there's plenty to see.
Great tip. Don't be afraid to explore beyond the well-known spots. Well, there you have it. 4 incredible days in Lake Como. I'm already dreaming of those lake views and the food.
Me too. Lake Como is just a taste of what Italy has to offer. So many other regions to discover.
Speaking of other regions, why don't we take our listener on a whirlwind tour of some other must-see Italian destinations?
Sounds like a plan. You know, while we've been focusing on Lake Como, it's good to remember that Italy has so much more to offer. And if you're looking for something a little more fast-paced after Lake Como, Venice might be just the place.
Ah, Venice. Gondolas, canals, romance. It's been on my list forever. What is it about Venice that just draws people in?
Well, Venice is really unlike any other city. It's built on water canals instead of streets and gondolas gliding past these amazing palaces. It's like stepping back in time where art and history and this unique way of life all come together.
Okay, I'm sold. If someone only has a short time in Venice, what are the absolute must-sees?
You can't miss St. Mark's Basilica. It's incredible Byzantine architecture, those mosaics, the domes. It's a true masterpiece. I mean, you'll be blown away by the details and just the grandeur of it all.
St. Mark's Basilica, it's iconic. I've seen pictures, but I bet it's totally different in person. What else should people see while they're there?
Okay, right next to St. Mark's Basilica is the Doge's Palace. It was the home of the Venetian rulers, the Doges, and it gives you a glimpse into the city's powerful past. You can wander through the rooms, imagine what it was like back then, and even see the prison cells where they kept some of Venice's most notorious figures.
Wow, I bet those walls could tell some stories. So we've got art, history, and a little bit of intrigue. What about a gondola ride? You can't go to Venice without a gondola ride, right?
You're absolutely right. A gondola ride through the canals is a must-do. It's the best way to really see the city glide under the bridges and take in the architecture. And hey, you might even get serenaded by the gondolier.
Okay, you've convinced me gondola ride. It's on the list. Now I'm getting hungry talking about all this exploring. What kind of food should our listener try in Venice?
Venice is all about seafood. Think fresh fish, shrimp, squid, all caught that day and cooked with these simple, delicious flavors. There's risotto alla veneziana with seafood and saffron, and bigoli and salsa pasta with a rich anchovy sauce.
Those dishes sound amazing. And what about something sweet after all that seafood?
Well, of course you can't go to Italy without having gelato. Venice has so many gelaterias with every flavor you can imagine, from pistachio and hazelnut to ricotta and fig, or even basil.
Okay, Venice is officially at the top of my travel list. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about another iconic Italian destination, the Amalfi Coast.
Ah, the Amalfi Coast. It's truly spectacular. Those dramatic cliffs, the colorful villages perched on the hillsides, and that sparkling blue water. It's all about those winding roads overlooking the sea, fragrant lemon groves, and the scent of bougainvillea everywhere. It's really an experience for all the senses.
Wow, it sounds incredible. What are some must-see towns along the Amalfi Coast?
Positano is a great place to start. It's famous for those colorful houses that seem to cascade down the hillside, chic boutiques, and beautiful beaches. Just imagine relaxing on the beach, soaking up the sun, and sipping on some refreshing limoncello.
Positano sounds picture perfect.
Yeah.
What else should we add to our Amalfi Coast itinerary?
You can't miss Amalfi itself. It's the largest town on the coast and has a really rich history. You can explore the harbor, wander through the streets, and visit the Cathedral Sant'Andrea with its amazing facade and those Moorish influences.
A beautiful cathedral by the sea. That sounds lovely. Any other towns we shouldn't miss?
If you want those breathtaking views, head to Ravello. It's a hilltop town that offers just incredible panoramas of the entire coastline. It's the perfect spot to sit on a terrace with a glass of local wine and watch the sunset over the Mediterranean.
Okay, so Positano for the glamour, Amalfi for the history, and Ravello for the views. What about activities? What should people do while they're exploring the Amalfi Coast?
Well, aside from soaking up the scenery and just enjoying the atmosphere, hiking is a great way to experience the Amalfi Coast's natural beauty. There are all these trails that wind through the hills and offer breathtaking views of the coastline, the lemon groves, and the charming villages.
Hiking with those views, sign me up. Are there any trails you'd recommend in particular?
The Sentiero degli Dei, or Path of the Gods, is one of the most famous here at Bacau. It stretches along the cliffs above the sea and gives you these amazing panoramas. Just be sure to wear good shoes and bring water.
Path of the Gods, it sounds amazing. Okay, after all that hiking, what about the food? Any culinary highlights on the Amalfi Coast?
Definitely. The Amalfi Coast is famous for its seafood and all the local produce, especially lemons. You have to try the limoncello. It's a delicious lemon liqueur, perfect for after dinner.
Limoncello with a view sounds perfect.
Yeah.
What other local delicacies should we try?
Oh, you have to try sfogliatelle. It's a pastry filled with ricotta cheese and candied fruit. It's a real taste of the Amalfi Coast and perfect for satisfying your sweet tooth.
I'm adding that to my list. Okay, we can't talk about Italy without talking about Rome.
Rome's a city that everyone should see at least once. It's overflowing with history and culture, ancient ruins, stunning churches, museums, and this energy that's just contagious.
Rome, the eternal city, there's so much to see. It can be overwhelming. Where should people even begin?
A visit to the Colosseum is a must. It's the largest amphitheater ever built, and it's a testament to the power of the Roman Empire. Just imagine standing in the arena and hearing the crowds and seeing those gladiators battling.
The Colosseum, it's like stepping back in time.
Yeah.
What else is on your must-see list for Rome?
The Trevi Fountain is another iconic spot. Legend has it that if you toss a coin over your shoulder into the fountain, you'll come back to Rome. It's a beautiful place, especially at night when it's all lit up.
The Trevi Fountain, with all those people making wishes. What other Roman treasures should we see?
You can't go to Rome without visiting Vatican City. It's the smallest country in the world and the center of the Catholic Church. There's St. Peter's Basilica with its incredible dome and the Vatican Museums, home to some of the most important Renaissance and Baroque art, including Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel ceiling.
Vatican City, it's incredible. Now, what are the food in Rome? What are some Roman specialties our listeners should try?
Rome is a pasta lover's dream. You have to try the classics like carbonara with its creamy sauce made with eggs, cheese, and pancetta, and amatriciana, a spicy tomato sauce with pancetta and pecorino cheese.
Carbonara and amatriciana, two of my favorites. What about dessert in Rome?
When in Rome, you have to have tiramisu. It's a classic Italian dessert with coffee-soaked ladyfingers, mascarpone cream, and cocoa powder. The perfect way to end a meal.
Okay, we've covered Venice, the Amalfi Coast, and Rome, and I feel like we barely scratched the surface of Italy. There's just so much to see. How about we move on to the Cinque Terre?
The Cinque Terre is a string of 5 colorful villages perched on cliffs along the Italian Riviera. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and for good reason. Imagine pastel-colored houses on rugged cliffs, vineyards going down to the sea, and that turquoise water. It's like something out of a dream.
5 colorful villages overlooking the Mediterranean. It sounds magical. What makes the Cinque Terre so special?
The Cinque Terre has this unique blend of natural beauty, cultural heritage, and Italian charm. The 5 villages are all connected by hiking trails that wind through the hills, offering stunning views.
Hiking with those views, I bet it's amazing for photographers.
Yeah.
What are some other must-do activities in the Cinque Terre?
Well, exploring the villages is a must. Each one has its own unique character and charm. You can wander the streets, admire the houses, browse the shops, and enjoy fresh seafood at the waterfront restaurants.
Okay, so we're exploring the villages, hiking the trails, and taking in the beauty. What about the food? What can we expect in the Cinque Terre?
The Cinque Terre is known for its fresh seafood, its local wines, and of course, pesto sauce. It originated in this region. You should try the local anchovies and the focaccia al rosmarino, a delicious flatbread with rosemary.
Fresh seafood, local wine, and pesto. Sounds like a foodie's paradise. What's the perfect way to end the day in the Cinque Terre?
Find a spot with a view, maybe a terrace overlooking the sea, or a cliff-top bar, and enjoy a glass of local wine as the sun sets over the Mediterranean. It's the perfect way to appreciate the beauty of the Cinque Terre.
A glass of wine, a sunset, and the sound of the waves. It sounds amazing. Now, I know we've covered a lot, but Italy has so many incredible destinations. What about Florence?
Florence is another must-see. It's the birthplace of the Renaissance and home to some of the most iconic art in the world.
Florence, the cradle of the Renaissance.
Yeah.
A dream for anyone who loves art and history. What are some must-see sites in Florence?
You can't miss the Uffizi Gallery. It houses masterpieces by Renaissance greats like Botticelli, Leonardo da Vinci, and Michelangelo. You'll see Botticelli's Birth of Venus, Leonardo's Annunciation, and Michelangelo's Doni Tondo.
The Uffizi Gallery. It's home to some of the most famous paintings in the world. I can imagine just wandering through those halls, surrounded by so much beauty. What else should our listeners see in Florence?
Well, the Duomo Florence's cathedral is another landmark. Its massive dome, designed by Brunelleschi, is a marvel of engineering, and you get amazing views of the city. Climb to the top, and you can see Florence's terracotta rooftops, the Arno River, and the surrounding hills.
The Duomo, with its iconic dome. I bet the views are incredible. What else shouldn't we miss in Florence?
No trip to Florence is complete without seeing Michelangelo's David. This iconic sculpture is a masterpiece of Renaissance art. You can find it at the Galleria dell'Accademia. You'll be amazed by the detail and the beauty of this incredible work of art.
Michelangelo's David, a must-see for sure. Now, after all that art and culture, what about the food? What are some Florentine specialties?
Florence is known for its hearty Tuscan cuisine. You have to try a Florentine steak. It's thick and juicy, grilled to perfection, and seasoned simply with salt and pepper. A true carnivore's dream.
A Florentine steak. It sounds amazing. What other local delicacies should we try?
For a sweet treat, you can't go wrong with cantucci. They're almond biscotti that are perfect for dipping in Vinsanto, a sweet dessert wine. It's a classic Florentine tradition.
Cantucci and Vinsanto. I love it. Now let's switch gears again and talk about a region known for its stunning scenery, the Dolomites.
The Dolomites are a mountain range in northeastern Italy. They're known for their jagged peaks, beautiful valleys, and picturesque villages. Picture towering limestone peaks, green meadows, and crystal clear lakes. It's truly breathtaking.
The Dolomites. With those incredible alpine views, what are some must-see sights?
The Tricime di Lavaredo are 3 peaks that are a symbol of the Dolomites. They offer incredible views and are a popular spot for hikers and photographers. Imagine hiking through those alpine meadows with those peaks towering above you.
The Tricime di Lavaredo. They look like something out of a movie. What other natural wonders should we see in the Dolomites?
Lake Braze is a must-see. It's a stunning lake surrounded by mountains and forests. You can rent a boat and row across the water, and the reflection of the mountains on the surface is just beautiful.
Lake Braze, wow. What else should we add to our Dolomites itinerary?
You should visit the town of Cortina d'Ampezzo. It's a chic mountain resort town that's great for skiing in the winter and hiking and climbing in the summer. You can wander through the streets, do some shopping, and enjoy a meal at a mountaintop restaurant.
Cortina d'Ampezzo, it sounds lovely.
Okay.
After a day exploring the Dolomites, what about the food? Any local specialties?
The Dolomites are known for their hearty alpine cuisine. Be sure to try the speck, a smoked prosciutto that's a regional specialty, and cannederli, which are bread dumplings that are often served in broth or with melted butter and cheese.
Speck and cannederli, perfect for a cold day in the mountains. What about something sweet?
For dessert, try Kaiserschmarrn. It's a fluffy shredded pancake that's often served with fruit compote or powdered sugar. It's a classic alpine dessert.
Kaiserschmarrn, it sounds delicious. We've talked about so many amazing places in Italy, but I know there are so many more hidden gems out there. Any last thoughts for our listener before we move on?
You know, Italy is a country best explored slowly and with an open mind. Don't be afraid to go off the beaten path, try new things, and really immerse yourself in the culture. You never know what you might discover.
I love that. Take your time, savor the experience, and be open to new discoveries. Any other advice for first-time visitors to Italy?
Embrace the Italian way of life. Savor the moment. Enjoy the company of others. Appreciate the simple things, and don't be afraid to say yes to new experiences.
Great advice. Step outside your comfort zone and experience La Dolce Vita in Italy. All right, that was our whirlwind tour of some of Italy's most popular destinations. Now let's venture off the beaten path a bit and explore some hidden gems. You ready for an adventure?
Absolutely. Let's go. We've talked about some pretty amazing places, but there's a region that often gets overlooked but is full of charm and authenticity. Puglia.
Puglia. I haven't heard much about it. What makes it so special?
Well, Puglia is down in the heel of Italy's boot, and it offers a different side of Italy compared to those busy tourist spots. It's all about sun-drenched coastlines, charming towns with those whitewashed houses, olive groves as far as the eye can see, and a slower pace of life. It's really captivating.
It sounds peaceful. What are some must-sees in Puglia?
You can't miss Alberobello. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site famous for its trulli, those unique cone-shaped houses.
Truly. They look like something out of a fairy tale. What's so special about them?
They're really one of a kind. They're built without any mortar, using this dry stone technique, and they're so charming. Walking through Alberobello is like stepping back in time. You can even stay in a trullo, which is a really cool experience.
Wow, I can imagine waking up in a trullo. That'd be amazing. What other hidden gems are there in Puglia?
Another must-visit is Polignano a Mare. It's a coastal town with these dramatic cliffs overlooking the Adriatic Sea. You can explore the old town, have some fresh seafood at a clifftop restaurant, or even go for a swim. There's a famous beach there, Lama Monachile. It's in a cove between these towering cliffs. It's absolutely stunning.
A coastal town with cliffs and fresh seafood sounds perfect.
You know,
Any other recommendations?
if you're into history and architecture, you have to see Lecce. It's called the Florence of the South because of its beautiful Baroque architecture.
Florence of the South. That's a pretty impressive title. What makes Lecce's architecture so special?
Well, the buildings are made from local limestone that has this warm golden color. It creates this beautiful glow, especially at night. And the carvings, the details, and just the sheer number of these Baroque masterpieces is amazing.
So we've got Albarabello with the Trulli, Polignano a Mare with its stunning coastline, and Lecce with its Baroque beauty. What about the food in Puglia? Any highlights we should try?
Puglia is all about simple, rustic food that really showcases the fresh ingredients. Seafood is a must, but you should also try orecchiette. It's a pasta shaped like little ears.
Orecchiette. That's cute. What makes it special?
It's usually served with a tomato sauce or with cimolidapa, a slightly bitter green vegetable that's really popular in Puglia. It's a simple dish, but so flavorful.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
What else should we try in Puglia?
You can't forget about the olive oil. Puglia is one of the top producers in Italy, and the quality is amazing. Olive trees are everywhere in Puglia, and the olive oil has this really distinct flavor that's both fruity and peppery.
Olive oil, a staple of Italian cuisine. What makes Puglian olive oil so special?
Well, Puglia has the perfect climate and soil for olive trees, and they use these traditional methods that have been passed down for generations. It's a key part of Puglian cooking and a great souvenir to bring home.
Okay, I think we've painted a pretty amazing picture of Puglia. It sounds like the perfect place to experience a more authentic side of Italy. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up our Italian adventure?
Italy is a country with endless possibilities. It has those iconic sites, hidden gems, bustling cities, quiet countryside, rich history, and vibrant culture. You'll find something you love in Italy. So embrace the adventure, savor every moment, and make some memories that will last a lifetime.
That's beautiful. I think we've inspired our listeners to start planning their Italian trips. Any final words of wisdom before we say arrivederci?
Just remember to embrace the Italian way of life. Enjoy the moment, spend time with loved ones, appreciate the simple things, and be open to new experiences.
I love it. Pack your bags, grab your passport, and get ready to experience La Dolce Vita in Italy.
Ciao for now.
Ciao.